The test of blood. The Galactic Defense Academy hummed with nervous energy as species from across the known universe gathered in the observation deck. Today was different. Today, they would witness something unprecedented in the Academy's 1,000-year history. Ladies, gentlemen, and honored beings, announced Director Vextar, his crystalline voice echoing through the amphitheater. Today marks the final examination of Cadet Jake Morrison, human, 22 standard years old. A collective murmur rippled through the crowd. The Zephyrians clicked their mandibles in disapproval. The Korthans growled low, their scaled heads shaking. Even the usually stoic Etherians shifted uncomfortably in their floating meditation pods. Impossible, hissed Commander Slicks of the Viper Consortium. No single being has ever faced 3 apex predators simultaneously and survived. This is madness. Director Vextar's eyes gleamed with something that might have been amusement. The human specifically requested this challenge. 3 opponents. No weapons. No assistance. Winner takes all. In the preparation chamber below, Jake Morrison sat quietly on a metal bench, methodically wrapping his knuckles with white tape. His breathing was steady, controlled. Around him, holographic displays showed detailed anatomical breakdowns of his upcoming opponents. Nervous human? The voice belonged to Instructor Zardh, a 7-foot-tall reptilian whose species had conquered 14 star systems before joining the Academy as trainers. Jake looked up, his green eyes meeting her yellow slits. A slow smile spread across his face. Nervous? No. Excited? Absolutely. Your confidence borders on arrogance. Cadet, do you understand what you face today? Jake stood, rolling his shoulders. Let me guess. You've selected the 3 deadliest killers in the Academy. Probably something with claws, something with teeth, and something with... What? Poison? Acid spit? Mind control? Zardh stepped closer, her forked tongue tasting the air. Mock this if you wish, but know that these 3 have never been defeated. Krugar the Bonebreaker from Terminus Prime, 17 victories, 0 defeats. Vespa, the Shadow Hunter from the Void Nebula, 23 kills, silent as death itself. And Thane the Berserker from the War Worlds, 31 conquests, each one more brutal than the last. Impressive resume, Jake said, continuing his warm-up routine. But here's the thing about apex predators. Instructor, they're used to being at the top of the food chain. They've never had to adapt, never had to evolve beyond their natural advantages. And humans have? Jake's laugh was sharp, cutting through the chamber like a blade. Humans? We're not apex predators, Zardh. We're something much worse. We're survivors. Every single creature on our planet tried to kill us at some point. We had no claws, no fangs, no natural weapons. So we made them. We had no thick hide or scales. So we created armor. We couldn't run as fast as our prey. So we learned to hunt in packs and never give up. The instructor's eyes narrowed. Pretty words, Cadet. But words won't save you when Krugar's claws are wrapped around your throat. No, Jake agreed, shadowboxing briefly. But years of mixed martial arts, military combat training, and pure human stubbornness might. The arena doors hissed open. Jake walked through without hesitation, his footsteps echoing in the vast circular chamber. The floor was polished metal, offering perfect traction. Overhead, thousands of beings from dozens of species watched from behind reinforced barriers. Behold! Director Vextar's voice boomed. The human faces his trial. Jake stood in the center of the arena, arms at his sides, breathing deep. The silence was deafening. Then, with a mechanical grinding sound, 3 separate gates began to rise. From the eastern gate emerged Krugar the Bonebreaker, 9 feet of pure muscle and fury. The Terminus native resembled a cross between a grizzly bear and a rhinoceros. His arms ended in claws that could shred titanium. His hide was thick as armor plating. His roar shook the arena walls. The western gate revealed Vespa. The Shadow Hunter was elegant death personified, her elongated limbs moving with liquid grace. Her species had evolved in complete darkness, developing echolocation, night vision, and the ability to move without disturbing a single molecule of air. She had never been seen before a kill. From the northern gate came Thane the Berserker. The War World native was humanoid but larger, his skin covered in ritual scars. His species felt no pain, knew no fear, and fought until their hearts literally exploded from combat stimulants their bodies naturally produced. He carried no weapons because his entire body was a weapon. Jake looked at each of them in turn, his expression thoughtful. Well, this is going to be interesting. Combatants, prepare. Vextar announced. Fight to incapacitation or yield. Lethal force is authorized. The three predators began to circle Jake, each moving according to their nature. Krugar lumbered forward, relying on brute strength and intimidation. Vespa melted into the shadows at the arena's edge, becoming nearly invisible. Thane simply stood still, his combat chemicals already beginning to flood his system, his eyes glazing over with battle rage. You know, Jake said conversationally, I studied each of you extensively. Krugar, your species always lead with the right claw when attacking. It's instinctual. Vespa, your people attack from behind, always going for the neck. And Thane, your Berserker rage makes you incredibly strong, but also incredibly predictable. Krugar snorted, saliva dripping from his massive jaws. Human words are wind. I will crack your bones like twigs. See, that's where you're wrong, Jake replied, bouncing lightly on his feet. Humans don't rely on instinct alone. We adapt. We learn. We improvise. Without warning, Thane charged. The Berserker's speed was shocking, covering 30 feet in less than 2 seconds. His fist, enhanced by combat drugs and natural aggression, whistled through the air where Jake's head had been a moment before. Jake had dropped low, sweeping Thane's legs. The Berserker tumbled, and Jake was already moving, rolling away as Krugar's massive claws raked the spot where he'd been crouched. Fast, Jake admitted, coming up in a defensive stance, but not faster than thought. Vespa struck from behind, her razor-sharp fingers aimed at Jake's spine. But Jake spun, catching her wrist and using her own momentum to throw her directly into Krugar's path. The Bone Breaker, unable to stop his charge, clotheslined his own ally. Teamwork makes the dream work, Jake quipped, dodging another wild swing from the recovering Thane. The crowd above erupted in shocked murmurs. No one had ever managed to turn the predators against each other so quickly. Krugar roared in frustration, his strategic mind warring with his predatory instincts. Stand still and fight, coward. Coward? Jake laughed, the sound echoing off the arena walls. I'm outnumbered. He feinted left, causing Vespa to leap in that direction, then pivoted right and drove his elbow into Thane's solar plexus. The Berserker doubled over, and Jake grabbed his head, driving his knee upward. The crack of cartilage breaking was audible throughout the arena. Thane staggered backward, green blood flowing from his ruined nose. His combat chemicals surged higher, dulling the pain but also clouding his judgment further. First blood to the human, Jake announced. Who's next? Krugar and Vespa exchanged glances. Without words, they coordinated their attack. Krugar charged head-on, while Vespa circled the flank. It was a classic predator tactic, used by pack hunters across the galaxy. Jake watched them approach, his mind calculating angles, speeds, and trajectories. At the last possible second, he dropped flat on his back. Krugar's claws passed harmlessly overhead while Jake's legs shot up, catching the massive alien in the chest and using his own momentum to flip him completely over. Krugar landed hard, the impact driving the air from his lungs. Before he could recover, Jake had rolled his feet and was facing Vespa's renewed assault. The Shadow Hunter was a blur of motion, her claws weaving deadly patterns in the air. But Jake moved like water, bending and flowing around each strike. His human flexibility, developed through years of martial arts training, allowed him to contort his body in ways that confused her targeting systems. Stand still, she hissed, frustration creeping into her voice. Sorry, Jake replied, ducking under a particularly vicious swipe. But standing still is how you get dead. He caught her extended arm, stepped close, and threw her over his shoulder in a perfect judo throw. She hit the arena floor hard, her perfect grace shattered by simple human technique. Thane, his face now a mask of green blood and rage, charged again. This time, Jake didn't dodge. Instead, he stepped into the attack, catching the Berserker's wrist and pivoting. The larger alien's own momentum carried him forward into Jake's rising elbow. The strike caught Thane in the temple. His eyes rolled back, and he collapsed like a felled tree. One down, Jake said, breathing harder now. Two to go. The crowd above was in chaos. Never had they seen such a display of tactical thinking combined with physical prowess. The human was not just fighting. He was conducting a symphony of violence. Krugar had regained his feet, his yellow eyes blazing with fury. Impossible. You cannot defeat us all. Jake wiped sweat from his forehead, leaving a smear across his knuckles. Want to bet? Your tricks will not work twice. Human, I am Krugar the Bonebreaker. I have crushed the spines of 100 warriors. And I'm Jake Morrison from Brooklyn, Jake replied. And where I come from, we don't break bones. We break spirits. The two remaining predators circled him more cautiously now. They had seen their teammate fall to human cunning and were adapting their strategy. Good. Jake preferred intelligent opponents. They made the victory more satisfying. Vespa had regained her composure, her movements once again flowing like liquid shadow. You fight well for prey, human, but now we know your methods. Do you? Jake asked, his voice carrying a hint of something darker. Because I've been going easy on you. The temperature in the arena seemed to drop several degrees. The crowd above fell silent, sensing a shift in the human's demeanor. Going easy? Krugar's laugh was like grinding stone. You jest. Jake's smile vanished. His green eyes hardened. No joke. See, I was trying to be sporting, professional, but you called me prey. He rolled his shoulders, and something in his posture changed. Where before he had been fluid and defensive, now he stood like a coiled spring. Dangerous. Predatory. Here's the thing about humans, Jake said, his voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried to every corner of the arena. We're not just survivors. We're hunters. And we never, ever give up. The final phase of the battle was about to begin. Hashtag they sent 3 apex predators against a human cadet. None made it past the first strike, HFY. The Hunter's Moon. The arena transformed into something primal as Jake's demeanor shifted. The careful, calculated fighter was gone, replaced by something far more dangerous. The watching aliens pressed closer to their viewing barriers, sensing they were about to witness something extraordinary. Vespa struck first, her survival instinct screaming danger. She moved with desperate speed, her claws extended, aiming for Jake's throat. But Jake was no longer where physics said he should be. He had moved sideways and down, dropping into a crouch that brought him beneath her guard. His fist drove upward, catching her in the ribs with surgical precision. The crack of bone echoed through the chamber. Vespa gasped, her perfect posture crumbling as pain lanced through her torso. She had never felt such agony. Her species was built for swift, clean kills, not prolonged combat. Ribs, Jake said clinically, rising to his full height. 3 broken, possibly 4. Your lung capacity just dropped by 30%. Still feeling confident. Krugar roared in charge, his massive frame bearing down like an avalanche. But Jake was ready. He sidestepped at the last moment, grabbed Krugar's extended arm, and used the alien's own momentum to slam him face first into the arena wall. The impact left a crater in the reinforced metal. Krugar stumbled backward, dazed, green blood streaming from his flattened nose. Concussion, Jake diagnosed matter-of-factly. Your equilibrium is compromised. Your vision is probably swimming right about now. How? Vespa wheezed, clutching her injured side. How do you know our weak points? Jake's laugh was cold, predatory. Because I studied. While you were relying on natural advantages, I was learning anatomy, physiology, weak points, pressure points. Every species has them. He demonstrated by striking Krugar in a specific spot just below the shoulder. The massive alien's left arm went completely limp, hanging uselessly at his side. Nerve cluster, Jake explained. Your arm will be numb for the next hour, assuming you live that long. The crowd above was in stunned silence. They were watching humans systematically dismantle two of the deadliest predators in the galaxy using nothing but knowledge and technique. "This is impossible," Commander Slicks whispered, his scaled hands pressed against the viewing barrier. "Humans are supposed to be weak, fragile." Director Vexstar's crystalline form pulsed with what might have been amusement. "Perhaps we have been operating under false assumptions. Commander." In the arena, Vespa was attempting to circle around Jake's blind spot, but her broken ribs made every move in agony. Jake watched her approach with the patience of a seasoned hunter. "You know what your real mistake was?" he asked conversationally. "You assume, but here's the secret about humans," Jake continued, standing over her prone form. "We're the most dangerous predators this galaxy has ever produced. We don't hunt with claws or fangs. We hunt with our minds." Krugar, still reeling from his concussion, made one last desperate charge. Jake didn't even look in his direction. Instead, he grabbed Vespa's ankle and swung her like a weapon, her body connecting with Krugar's midsection and sending both aliens crashing to ground in a tangle of limbs. "Improvised weapons," Jake said, dusting off his hands. Another human specialty. The two remaining predators struggled to rise, their bodies broken, their spirits crushed. They had never faced anything like this. Their natural advantages meant nothing against human adaptability and intelligence. "Yield." Vespa gasped, blood frothing at her lips. "I yield." Krugar tried to stand, his one good arm shaking with effort. "Never. I am Krugar the Bonebreaker. I do not yield." Jake's expression softened slightly. "I respect that, but this fight is over." He moved with blinding speed, striking 3 specific points on Krugar's body in rapid succession. The massive alien's eyes rolled back, and he collapsed unconscious to the arena floor. "Pressure points," Jake explained to the stunned crowd. "His nervous system just shut down. He'll wake up in a few minutes with nothing worse than a headache." The arena fell silent except for the sound of Jake's controlled breathing and Vespa's labored gasps. 3 apex predators lay defeated, and the humans stood victorious in the center of it all. "Well," Jake said, looking up at the observation deck, "I guess that's game over." The crowd erupted. Some species cheered, others protested, and a few simply stared in shocked silence. Never in the Academy's history had a single being defeated 3 apex predators simultaneously. Director Vexstar's voice cut through the chaos. "Cadet Morrison, report to the evaluation chamber." Jake nodded, helped Vespa to her feet despite her defeat, and checked Krugar's pulse to ensure he was stable. Even Thane was beginning to stir, his Berserker chemicals finally wearing off. "No hard feelings," Jake told them. "You fought well." Vespa stared at him with something approaching awe. "You could have killed us all." "Yeah," Jake admitted, "but that wasn't the point of the exercise." In the evaluation chamber, Jake faced a panel of the galaxy's most senior military officials. Their expressions ranged from impressed to concerned to outright fearful. "Cadet Morrison," Director Vexstar began, "your performance today was unprecedented. However, some concerns have been raised about human combat capabilities." "Concerns?" Jake asked, raising an eyebrow. Commander Slicks leaned forward, his reptilian features twisted with worry. "Your species displays a level of tactical thinking and adaptability that is troubling, combined with your apparent physical capabilities. Some question whether humans can be trusted with advanced military training." Jake's laugh filled the chamber. "Troubling? Commander, with respect, you've been underestimating us from day one. Every species in this academy was selected because they're natural-born killers. Humans weren't invited because nobody thought we were dangerous enough. And now, ask General Thexera of the Corthan High Command. Now you know better." Jake replied simply, "Humans aren't apex predators. We're something far more dangerous. We're survivors who learn to hunt. We're problem solvers who never give up. We're pack hunters who improvise and adapt." He stood, his green eyes meeting each panel member in turn. "You sent 3 of your best against 1 human cadet. None of them made it past my first serious strike. That should tell you everything you need to know about my species." Director Vexstar's crystalline form pulsed thoughtfully. And what would you say to those who fear human military capabilities? Jake's smile was sharp as a blade. I'd say they're right to be afraid, but only if they're planning to be our enemies. The panel exchanged glances. Finally, General Fexera spoke. Cadet Morrison, you are hereby granted full graduation from the Galactic Defense Academy with highest honors. Your tactical assessment and combat evaluation scores are the highest in Academy history. Thank you, sir. However, the General continued, we have one final question. Today's performance suggests that humans have been deliberately concealing their true capabilities. Is this accurate? Jake considered the question carefully. Not concealing, General, just never being asked to demonstrate them. Humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We perfected the art of combat not through natural evolution, but through necessity and innovation. And you believe other humans possess similar capabilities? Better, Jake said with complete confidence. I'm just a cadet. You should see what our special forces can do. The chamber fell silent. The implications were staggering. If one human cadet could defeat 3 apex predators, what could a trained human military unit accomplish? There's one more matter, Director Vextar announced. Your performance today has attracted attention from the highest levels of Galactic Command. You've been offered immediate promotion to instructor rank, with a focus on adaptive combat training. Jake's eyebrows rose. They want me to teach? They want you to prepare the galaxy for what humans can do, Commander Slicks said quietly. And perhaps more importantly, they want humans to prepare the galaxy for what threats we might face together. Interesting proposition, Jake mused. I accept on one condition. Name it. I want to design the training program myself. No interference, no limitations. If you want to know what humans are capable of, you need to be prepared for full experience. The panel members looked at each other nervously. They were beginning to understand that inviting humans into the galactic community might have been the most significant decision in their species' history. Agreed, General Fexera said finally, Instructor Morrison, welcome to the Advanced Training Division. As Jake left the evaluation chamber, he passed the medical bay where his 3 opponents were recovering. Thane was awake, his Berserker chemicals finally out of his system. Krugar was sitting up, his arms still numb, but functional. Vespa was breathing easier, her ribs properly treated. Human, Krugar called out as Jake passed. I have fought warriors from 100 worlds. Never have I been defeated so completely. You fought well, Jake replied honestly. All of you did. But we were not prepared for your methods, Vespa added. Your species fights unlike any other. Jake paused in the doorway. That's because every other species fights like predators. Humans fight like humans. There's a difference. What difference? Thane asked, his voice respectful despite his defeat. Jake's smile was enigmatic. Predators hunt when they're hungry. Humans hunt when... As he walked away, the 3 defeated aliens exchanged glances. They were beginning to understand that they had not just been defeated by a superior fighter. They had been outclassed by a representative of a species that had evolved beyond the simple predator-prey relationship that governed the rest of the galaxy. In the weeks that followed, Jake's victory became legend throughout the Galactic Defense Academy. Species that had previously dismissed humans as weak or unremarkable began requesting human advisors. Military academies across the galaxy started incorporating human tactical thinking into their curricula. But Jake Morrison, now Instructor Morrison, was just getting started. He had shown the galaxy what one human could do. Soon, he would show them what humans could do together. The age of human military superiority was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same.